Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently making slow but steady progress in our war for Europe here. Our war against Great Britain has, of course, ballooned, and we're not particularly surprised about that, right? We've successfully ended the fighting in India, at least for now, and we're working on ending the fights in Australia, in Canada, and in Europe as our primary focus right now. We also have some troops in Africa, and we're making progress there, to be sure, but that is not really a primary focus at this time. Now, they've pushed out pretty heavily from Belgium, and I have taken the liberty off camera of telling these guys, forget about defending Brittany, we're just going to bring you guys down here, we're going to evacuate, and they're going to come in here. So that's absolutely fine for the time being. We're going to continue to get pushed back here, but I highly doubt they're going to be able to push us back past this line. So we'll see how that ends up going. But in the meantime, we're coming in to their back line as we get these tanks into position to attack back here and sweep up this way. So that's the overall concept there. We also have a couple of units that are thinking about attacking up here. We'll see how that goes. For the time being, I want to hop into our construction and look at our supply situation. Oh, this is very laggy. Our supply situation up at this front over here. So that definitely needs some work. Let's get to work on upgrading these railroads that are in this area. That is going to be kind of mission number one. So that is going to include... These roads are maybe not super necessary, but we do have a naval base there. They might become necessary eventually. We definitely want to make sure that our connections over here are rank 5. No doubt about that. So I'm going to bring all of this through over here up to rank 5. I want all of this Prussian territory that we captured to be upgraded. Now, this is not necessary, but I want to do it anyway. We only really need one thoroughfare through, but that is going to be vulnerable to bombing, and I would prefer to not have that. So we'll do something along the lines of this, getting all of that upgraded. So that's absolutely great. This down here is mediocre, right? But we have a fallback line here. I'm not too concerned about that. Let's take a quick look at Canada. Okay, so we took over some railroads up here in Canada. I want to grow these up to level 5 railways so that our supply depots out here aren't quite as bad. Okay, so something like that will do. Let's motorize these supply depots. And this one is under construction. Okay. We can't motorize that one yet, but we'll get there. For the time being, that looks reasonably fine, although I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't actually come down here. Okay, I'm going to grab a couple units out of here. I'm going to grab these 3 units, and they are going to come down and frontline over here. We just want to hold that line for right now. We don't want anybody doing anything about that. So I don't think we need 6 divisions here. I'm going to move these 3 over to one of these front lines down here. That will be this one. That was only 1 unit that got moved. These 2 can come with. Okay, so it would be something along the lines of that. Okay, so there's that under control. Now, as far as this goes, this is going to be a pretty wide front for our tank army. And we'll see what ends up happening with that. I would really, really, really like to get all of Germany cleared up here. Okay, I'm just looking at this fill-in. It looks reasonably fine. And then this up here, we'll see if we're able to attack the rear of these guys. That'll be interesting. I'm not 100% convinced that that's going to work well. These guys can be moved over into one of these divisions, probably this one. There we go. That'll be fine. And we're hoping that our African campaigns are going to wrap up very soon. But I have a sneaking suspicion supplies over here. Well, actually, the troops are just very thin. So supplies aren't that big of a deal over here, actually. We'll just continue to work through Africa. That seems reasonably good. Of course, France is the primary concern, and we are going to need to pull forces out of here, which we've already done. And they're going to come down here, and honestly, I'm going to tell these lads, just forget about attacking for the moment. Just go purely defensive. Don't waste any resources on the attack. Oh, that's rude. They did a naval invasion before all of our forces got out of there. That's incredibly rude. Well, these guys are going to go away. That is very sad, but whatever. I guess some of our forces got out of there anyway. These guys are going to cease to exist. Okay, that's fine. We're at 25 out of 24 Marines here anyway. Why is this infantry division here? This should not be here. Let's move this over to here. There we go. And we're going to lose some Marines. That's okay. We can deal with that. So we're currently successfully attacking on this front, and that's great. We absolutely want to push through here and get these guys in the back line over here eliminated. So that would be amazing to do. Let's continue to push through there, and Netherlands has capitulated to the occupying Prussian forces. That's a little awkward for potential holdings down here. We'll see how that ends up going. But for the time being, it's reasonably fine. Now, Prussia has a fair amount of territory over here despite having capitulated, and that's okay. We've got tanks moving up to the front here. We're continuing to press in. This should be reasonably fine. Holstein has capitulated, and that is these guys right up over here. That looks good. An infantry division heading down here. Okay, whatever. That is reasonably fine for the moment. I'm wondering what the supply situation up over here is going to look like. It's not too bad. Okay, we're going to need to do some railway changing around there, but that's okay for the moment. So we'll just get these tanks into position here and continue to press in over this way. We'd like to see Schleswig going away very, very soon. So we're continuing to press in there. Of course, Brittany has fallen, and that's fully expected. Now, these guys are kind of overextended here, but it looks like we've kind of hit a bit of a stalemate here, which is intriguing. I'm thinking about fortifying this line here. That shouldn't take too long to do. We can just get this built up and make it nearly impossible for them to press in over here. It's kind of awkward the way that this is set up, but sure. We could definitely do something like this and make it very, very difficult for them to attack this area. It would be like that. Okay. So we're going to get started on that. It'll take some time to get that constructed. We're not building all of them simultaneously. So that is absolutely noted, and let's let some of that progress. In the meantime, of course, we're still attacking in the north. And we're doing very well attacking in the north as well. British East Africa has capitulated, so that is very good for us. That does mean that these guys are going to need a new offensive line, which is just going to be, like, right over here. And they can absolutely get going on that. That didn't actually go. Hang on. I think I clicked the wrong thing. Yeah, no, it did go. I just didn't see it. Okay, sure. That seems fine. So we're still attacking over here in British Congo. That seems absolutely okay. We're making progress down here with these guys attacking here. That's actually a fair number of Hanoverian units that are going to be lost there. I like it. We've encircled them nicely. So that's all looking reasonably good. Now, I want to check in on our construction here. Okay. So these level 1 land forts have not yet been put in. There we go. There's a bunch of level 1 land forts having gone in. They're not all there yet. I'm going to move these up so that we have some progress on these level 1 land forts. Perfect. We're just digging in, fortifying this line for the time being. We're going to let this be, and the plan is to attack this from the rear and not the front. We can start a pincer maneuver a little later on. So that's absolutely fine for the time being. Now, Schleswig is going to capitulate quite soon here, actually. They are very close to getting cut off. So that looks really, really good. And this is only 3 tank units, remember, that's doing this. So that's kind of insane. No doubt about that. Schleswig has capitulated, which was expected at this point. So that is absolutely great, and we're just going to continue to press through here. I would like to wrap up this area up over here. We'll see how that ends up shaping out. What's this fill-in look like? It goes that way? That might be okay, actually. So for the time being, that's reasonably fine. I want to check in on these constructions. Yeah, this is making solid progress. Okay, so I think we're having a successful dig-in over here. That looks good. They're not really pulling forces over this way. If we can take Copenhagen, that's huge. Now, we only have 3 units here, right? But I want these guys to begin an offensive line of right here, and they're going to launch that. They aren't expected to be able to push into this. I just want them to keep these units occupied. So that'll be fine for now. And as far as all of this goes, 3 units is not really enough for this. We're actually winning this right now, but I don't expect that to continue for too much longer. Okay, so that's reasonably fine for the moment. What do we have going on down here? Okay, that's just a front line there. Sure. So that's okay for right now. They're going to have a very hard time breaking through our entrenchments here. We've managed to get a couple levels of entrenchment in most of these areas. I'm going to bring these up to make sure 2 levels of entrenchment. There we go. And at this point, we're just continuing to push in the north. These guys are basically stalled out due to not really having the forces to do this, right? So that's okay. The real concern here is, what if these guys were assigned an offensive line out over here? We cannot draw an offensive line there. Okay, I want these guys to have an offensive line that is cleaning up this area up here. And they can go ahead and embark on that adventure. Then I would love to have an offensive line out over here, but we can't draw an offensive line there. So for the moment, these guys are just going to hold here, and we're attacking down here, which seems reasonably fine, but we're not going to be super successful on that. That is okay. Now, there's a naval invasion that has occurred in Portugal out over here. I'm going to pull this unit of Marines. We're going to remove them from this front, and we're going to move them out over here, with the idea being offensive lining to Braga. Okay, so they're going to head in there. That seems fine. Let's check for any additional naval invasions. There's kind of this up here. Emphasis on kind of. How are we doing on the construction of the supply hub here? Well, I mean, we're currently building all of these land forts, so there is all of that. Where is this supply hub? I've kind of queued some things up. We need to move up this supply hub and this supply hub. Okay. We'll get going on that. That is fine for the moment. We're going to need some of these units attacking out over here, but lack of supplies over here is the core issue, right? And the same thing down here in Australia. Let's check in on Britain. We've not made significant gains over here. We have a bit of a lack of supply, but that's not necessarily shocking. Okay, this supply hub is actually going to be connected over very soon, which will be useful for us. We've made some gains on that front. Okay, so that looks good for the moment. Pulling our Marines back here to encircle this. And it looks like the Modenan military revolt already has some troops over here. So that's noted. We're going to be arriving here quite soon, though, because we're using the rails to transport over. Cool. So our Marines are showing up, and we should be able to utilize them to deal with this. Their organization is currently too low to advance, but that is fine for the moment. We'll get there. So that seems okay. This front should still be holding reasonably well because of the fortifications. Now, I want to check in on what's going on over here. Quite a lot of forces have redeployed over here, I think. Okay, that's noted for right now. Autosave is, of course, occurring. There we go. And we're going to continue to press through Denmark over here. In Germany, we're making some progress, to be sure. Just slowly grinding through here. Excellent. I want to check in on the supply situation over here. This should absolutely be motorized. And I want to check in on the situation of the railway over here. Yeah, it's not great. That's for sure. I'm going to queue up these railways and nothing more. Cool. So that's underway. The question is, how many more of these defenses do we think we need here? We've actually, I think, started pushing them back slightly. Maybe a little bit. Okay, well, that's okay for now. We're going to continue to work on attacking up here. There are more naval invasions that I'm sure they want to that they want to fire up here, but for the time being, this is okay. So we've got this area relatively under control. Our Marines are going to push through as best they can, but we need to free up some forces, right? So these guys are making their way through here. Very slowly, but they're making their way through. These guys appear to have some significant supply issues. And I think it's primarily just due to a lack of railway. So let's upgrade one railway thoroughfare to be able to get supplies from somewhere to somewhere. What thoroughfare do we want to upgrade? It's going to be this, which is going to connect in down here, which connects to our previously constructed thoroughfare. Okay, so something along the lines of that. These supply hubs are still top priority. Cool. So there we go. That'll do for now. We're working on pushing through up here in Denmark, making reasonably solid gains here. Cool. This is actually a really big attack right here. And then we're continuing to attempt to attack over here. We're just keeping these guys busy so that they're not redeployed back over here. This is looking absolutely great for the time being. So, how are we doing here? Are we successfully at least holding this? I think we're successfully pushing them back, actually. Their supplies are not great in that area, so that looks good. This line appears to have stabilized. That's fantastic. And we're continuing to push through Germany here. Yeah, no problem whatsoever there. Making solid gains. Pushing these guys back. A lot of these units are going to stack wipe here. Yeah, they're retreating up this way. And now they can't. They can't retreat up this way. So that's really, really good for us. We're very pleased with this situation. They're now retreating out over here. Okay, so a lot of units here are going to get stack wiped. That looks phenomenal. We're really, really happy about that situation. We're continuing to press through here. This is... Are we at war with Bavaria? No, we are... Bavaria's on our side. They're trying to attack us here. Okay, noted. So we're not really succeeding in any attacks up over here in Germany for the moment. This supply hub is mediocre in terms of its connectivity. I would like to build a railway that crosses here and upgrade this railway. Okay, so we'll get going on that. These land forts are a little bit lower priority at this point because I feel like that front has stabilized. So we're not too concerned about getting them done. We'll continue to work on them in the background, but ensuring our supplies are flowing their way to the front is by far the most important. Okay, so we're continuing to press in over here. No problem. I want these guys to make their way around here. And we'll continue to work on that. Cool. So as soon as we finished up Denmark, we're going to have quite a lot of forces freeing up. Now, look at this. They've just launched a giant attack all across this front, and the whole thing is failing due to our fortifications. That is beautiful. That's exactly what we want to see. They gave us a moment to dig in, and we took it. So that's fantastic. We're continuing to push into Germany. We're now having some level of success on that. That's perfect. They have probably determined that this is a bad situation for them at this point, and it is. It absolutely is a bad situation for them. This is not going to go well at all. So we're pressing in up over here. These guys are all going to stack wipe. That's fantastic. And all of our forces are attacking here. They're going to stack wipe as well. That's just a matter of time on that one. Cool. So all of those stack wiped due to being overrun. These guys have been trying to pull back a little bit, but our attacks over here have been quite constant. So at this point, we just need to get this under control, which it nearly is. And we're attacking and winning down here as well. So we can see these offenses are currently failing over here. Supplies are mediocre at this point, but they are going to be improving. So that looks good. Checking in on Canada. We're not really succeeding in any attacks in Canada right now. I'm not shocked about that. Canada is going to be difficult for us to break through. Africa is going to be finishing up fairly soon, though. We've seen large amounts of capitulation here. I want to assign this guy down over here, and I want to assign one other as well. with their goal being to offensive line like this, and they can go ahead and engage that. Okay. So that'll be fine. Checking in on Australia, which is over this way, we should head in here, and I'm wondering how we're doing on those supply hubs. We're still a long ways away on them. Okay. That's going to take some time. Sure. Denmark is kind of our primary focus right now. Messina just capitulated. That's good. That is, I believe, an African country. So that is fine. We're going to continue to work on Germany up here, but a big focus right now is on getting Denmark eliminated. And Denmark is really not doing well at this point. Denmark is really, really close to falling. That's great. That'll free up a lot of forces that we can send over to Germany, and that will be fantastic. Our French front feels very stable at this point. I want to take a quick look at our land fort situation here. Yeah, this is very stable. Okay. I don't think that they're going to be able to push through that. So that looks good. We're going to need reinforcements to our German front as soon as the Danish fronts are dealt with. And that's very soon now. Very, very soon. Cool. So these guys are going to get stack wiped. They are now beginning to stack wipe. They've been pocketed. They have nowhere to go. And they're going to surrender very, very soon. All we need for Denmark is to take Copenhagen, and Denmark will capitulate. And that'll free up a lot of forces over here. How are we doing over this way? Have we dealt with this incursion? No, but it appears to be relatively stable for now. Okay, there's a nuke going off over here. That's reasonably fine. I want to check in on the supply situation over here. This should be motorized, and this should be motorized. And that'll pretty much give us whatever supplies we need. For the moment, that is okay. This stack wipe is wrapping up at this point, and I'm wondering where these 3 units are going to go after this. Let's have them selected, and they're heading down to Germany. Okay, I don't want them in Germany just yet. We're going to frontline them here, and then their goal is going to be to offensive line from there to Copenhagen. And they can get started on that. Cool. Down in Germany, we are stalled out a little bit, but this is going roughly okay. There are definitely more naval invasions occurring, and that's reasonably fine. I'm not too concerned about it as long as they're not, you know, major naval invasions. Like this one was. That one was a major naval invasion, a very threatening one at that. We've actually made some progress over in Canada, I see. We are going to have that taken over. Looks like we're actually starting to break through their lines here. That's really good. I'm going to tell these guys to start offensive lining out here so that they can hopefully join up with the rest of the forces. So that's these guys here. Okay. So that looks good. A breakthrough in Canada is fantastic. We need supplies to get broken through over here, of course. And those are still a ways away. So that's fine. We're successfully holding France, or half of France, and some successful attacking is occurring in Germany at this point. Okay. Now, these guys are not attacking. They apparently weren't told to attack. That's fine. They should get started on that attack. Cool. So these Danish forces here, they've got this naval base and whatever Denmark is producing. They're going to run out of supplies pretty quickly, I think. Yes, we should be working on the cryptology department. We'll get going on that. Cool. So we're going to continue these attacks over here. Over in Germany, we have a bit of a bulge that has broken out here. We've not achieved any sort of a breakthrough over here at this time. So that is fine. We're okay with focusing on Denmark for the moment and getting that cleared up. So, taking a look out over here, it looks like they've landed reinforcements here and are successfully attacking. What do we want to do about that? Well, we've got some forces over here, this tank force, that is wrapping up against Ashanti here. So let's select all of them, and let's offensive line that, and that'll be right down something like that. It's a little messy, but they're going to get in there. Cool. We've got this armored division that I'm going to toss into here. And then we've got these guys, which are going to head over here. Cool. So this is potentially an issue. We are contesting it, but we need to get our tanks down here and get this cleaned up. Once this is cleaned up, then this will be freed up. So that'll be great. And we're still pushing through over here. I kind of want to select these guys and change this order. So this order is going to go away. And I'm going to have these forces selected. They're going to offensive line like this. There we go. And they can execute that. And then these guys are going to offensive line like this. And they can execute that. Cool. So we'll get started on that. We are attacking into Ashanti here. Our supplies over here are not phenomenal. That's for sure. We should probably think about motorizing this supply hub and this supply hub. And then this one's going to get connected soon. I want to ensure that we have a decent railway connection over here. So this supply hub will need to get connected like that, and then we'll make sure that we have a connection up this way to our higher level railway connection. Something like that. Beautiful. So the Portuguese incursion is a little problematic for sure. And we'll work on that. These guys are, their organization is currently too low to advance, and I'm wondering why that is the case. Supplies aren't really grim out here. Okay. I'm not 100% certain on why that's the case. However, we've had a lot of time to fortify up over here, and I'm feeling like we can pull this army and have them come help out over here, with their idea being offensive lining like this as well. So they're going to make their way over. We're going to pull them from this front. Now, this front is still fairly fortified, and it should be okay. Yeah, it's reasonably fortified over there. So that seems fine. Up in Denmark, we're not making significant progress at this moment. That's okay, we'll continue to fight there. In Germany, we are making some progress. Cool. So that's looking absolutely fine. Our major areas of progress right now are Canada and Africa. So we're making very solid gains over here. We're still moving forces in, but that's fine. We'll get some supplies over here, and this will very, very soon be completed over this way, this campaign, and these guys will be able to be redirected here or perhaps here. We'll see where we want them to go. For now, the German front is stalled out a little bit, but I do expect that we're able to punch through this, given some time, and particularly reinforcements. The Danish front is a little more problematic here. We'll see what we want to do about that. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to continue to clean up these fronts. Britain is trying to create new fronts, and we'll see how successful they really are at that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.